Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, and I'm giving my daily update on this case of Samantha Murphy. I think what's really starting to worry me now, but obviously worrying me that Samantha hasn't been found yet, hasn't come back, nobody knows anything, but the police are just being too quiet about it. I know they can't give details, of the investigation. Of course they can't. But really, they should be giving it, I think, daily updates every morning, even if it's just to say there's nothing new to report, because I can feel this sort of sliding into the sort of same, pardon my language, but the same shit show, really, as with the Nicola Bully. Because when there's no information at all, people invent information. That's just what they do, so there's no point in just telling people not to speculate and then not giving them anything, not even confirming or denying some things. And I know when there's an investigation going on, they've got to be very careful, but I'm sure they could do something like the thing about the dog, when the dog went missing, and then some reports, mainstream media were saying the dog had been run over and had to be euthanized. Then Facebook things were saying, no, that's not true. Then it turned out it was true. Then it wasn't true. And people don't know what to believe. And sometimes you need an official line on something, if you don't want that speculation, which that speculation is harmful to the family. Of course it is. And then, as if it's not bad enough that the mum's gone missing, then they lose their dog, or did they, who? And there's no point in saying it's nobody's business. It is people's business, because people are now interested in this case. And the mainstream media is hammering it down everybody's throats just the same. And they are responsible for most of the speculation. So when I was looking for this morning, every morning, every evening, probably several times a day, I'm on there looking for some sort of information that might bring a resolution, might feel, that a resolution is coming to this case. Just so much conflicting information. So there's a couple of bits of things that I want to talk about today. So this is Samantha. Samantha is now 12 days missing. It'll be 2 weeks tomorrow, which is today there or tonight. Of course, I'm in Spain and this happened in Australia, so there's a variation on time and days, etc. Nearly fortnight, basically, that Samantha, 51-year-old mother of 3, supposedly in a happy relationship with her husband, they've got business together, went off on her normal morning jog to a nearby nature trail park, and just didn't come back and has never been seen since. And there's very little CCTV evidence. Nobody saw her on the actual run, not on that day anyway. And her phone, the only thing that we think we know for sure, but again, I don't know that the police have actually confirmed it, was that her mobile phone pinged once, much later on in the day, around about 5 o'clock in the evening, off her tower there, and then that was it. She was wearing an Apple Watch, which presumably the police are in control of the data from that, and that'll be telling them something. They've been to her home and searched. They've had the husband Mick, who obviously will be investigated, because that's what happens in any case like this, isn't it? You start close to the person and work outwards. So Mick will definitely have been investigated one way or another, and maybe still being investigated, which doesn't mean that he's done anything, just means that he is, her partner. And of course, he's going to come under some, not exactly suspicions, but it's got to be checked out, hasn't it? That he hasn't had anything to do with her disappearance. And that this picture caused a lot of consternation. This was him coming out the police station, smiling, which, but I think, as I've said before, I think the photographers will have been standing there waiting, taking pictures, just waiting for a picture like that, because this is what the mainstream media do, and then blame everybody else, the social media, etc. But it's not social media that are standing there taking these pictures. It's the mainstream media. So this is where she went missing from. This is her home, Eureka Street. Ballarat is the name of the team. Now, it's funny because, a lot of people have subscribed to me who are from the area and have been very helpful in their comments to help us understand the area, because, I live in Spain. I live miles away from there. I have no idea what that area is like, really. Only what you see, and you get, what in life, in these types of things, you get a certain impression of places when you see them on the TV. Then when you go to the actual place, they quite often feel completely different. And I found that when I went to St Michael's on Wyre, by the river from where Nicola Bulley went missing, always looked so big, so vast when you saw it on the TV, etc. But it's actually tiny. It's a tiny place, and it just made me realise, how could nobody have seen anything? It just, when you go, you just can't imagine how it could have happened. So I still think there's suspicious circumstances there. I haven't given up on Nicola Bulley. It just, sometimes you just think, I don't want to keep repeating the same things over and over again. But whether anything new will ever come out in the Nicola Bulley case, I don't know. But my opinion is there was foul play there. Now, I don't think I'd take a lot to change that. I don't see anything that's in the pipeline that would change my thoughts on that. But when I say foul play, I'm saying foul play of some kind. I don't know what. I don't know who. Don't know if we ever will. But the whole situation was very strange. But there, you see, the police did not control, like, the news that went out. They found these lessons later on. They opened up a lot of speculation and conspiracy theory by not being transparent, or as transparent as they can be, because I know they can't be completely transparent with what they were investigating, etc. It was just left really. It was just a sitting duck for conspiracy theories to pick up on strange things and, make more out of them than there really was, etc. It's just, probably something that will go on forever being debated, what really happened to Nicola. And this is what I'm worrying about here. Don't want it to end up the same here. The police, they do need to take control one way or another, in my opinion, anyway. So, other things that are, circulating. This was the last CCTV of Samantha before she left that morning. Other speculation. There's a lot of speculation about where she was. Everyone seems to be agreed she had some sort of meeting that morning. And, oh my God, depending on which newspaper article you read, which Facebook post you read, some people saying it was a family brunch at 11 that she didn't come back in time to get ready for, and that's what sparked off the husband Mick phoning the police to say she wasn't, that she was missing. Now some people are saying that she supposedly had a meeting with some man in Ballarat in the city later that day at 10. Some YouTubers are saying that these are the things that the police should really at least say something or stamp on the unfounded. If she didn't have her family brunch at 11, they should say she didn't. Why wouldn't they? You see, I don't see and I could see why they might not want to say that she had a meeting with a man at 10, because that man may be the person who's done some harm to Samantha, or may know something. So I can see how they don't want to alert people that they suspect. Don't get me wrong. I know it's a very difficult situation, and the police will be doing what they think they should be doing. And the other thing, which the podcast that we listened to yesterday mentioned, unfortunately, there are other things going on. So just this morning, I just want to read you. Say just this morning, I'm talking about in Spain. It may have been evening in Australia. The police were called to a double homicide, I say double homicide. It looks like it may be a murder-suicide. Let's have a look. There was not far from the area in Sebastopol. So let me just go to this. Oh God! All the adverts that come up, it drives you absolutely mad. Okay, so investigation underway after 2 people were found dead in Victoria. So, other things happen, don't they? And this takes resources to investigate this. The 2 people found dead at home. Let me just share this with you. The police have only got so many resources. So a mother dead amid suspected murder-suicide. So this is, another woman may be killed by a man. Mother dead amid suspected murder-suicide. Let's have a look at the video.
Ahora en Día los espaguetis o macarrones Día al Diente con un 28% de descuento por solo 0,59 en tiendas y en día.es.
Neighbours were scared of Ian Butler, a proud Bandidos bikie nicknamed Sheriff, identified as the 55-year-old Ballarat man found dead at this Sebastopol home, near the body of 42-year-old Rebecca Young.
I didn't really know him because I haven't been there that long, so that's about all. A bit of a shock.
Officers found the couple inside this Morgan Street property at 9 p.m. Rebecca had only moved into the home 6 months ago and was in a volatile relationship, according to neighbours who cared for 2 of her children as investigations dragged through the night. They heard an argument and the wails of Rebecca's parents at the scene. Police will not confirm how she or Ian died or what, if any, weapons were collected in these bags of evidence.
I got a real shock. A couple of my friends rang me to see if I was okay, that something had happened in Morgan Street.
Cleaners have just arrived at the property, which remains under police guard. The homicide squad is assisting this investigation, but because they're not looking for any other suspects, it's being led by local detectives here in Ballarat. If you or someone you know needs help, call 1-800-RESPECT or Lifeline. Mark Santomartino, 9 News.
So there you go. The world doesn't stop turning, does it? Samantha has gone missing and we don't know what's happened to her, but the world doesn't stop turning, and bad things still keep on happening and in the local area. So, that sounds absolutely tragic, So there's a mother moved in with that guy, and it looks like he's snapped, completely done something to her, and then he's done something to himself. So, but it's unconnected apparently to Samantha's disappearance, but it's not that far away apparently. Now, so this goes back to what I'm saying about, it's been very interesting to have people come on my channel and who actually live in the area or have experience in the area, because I do think that it's been portrayed like, if I was just watching that on the news about Ballarat and where Samantha went missing in the trail, it does feel like it's just out in the middle of nowhere. But, people are saying that it's not, Ballarat is not a tiny place. And, she lives in one of the suburbs, apparently. So maybe that is a different, Ballarat itself is a massive place. So, we can get, when we're looking from a distance, we can get a different picture than from when they were actually there and talking to people who actually live there. Also, they have an idea of the community and what communities really like. You know, like I think I've said before, if I could describe how what my village is like, but until somebody has lived there and probably lived there, you know, I've lived here over 25 years and I still feel like an outsider, you know, so it's, gosh, you can't beat local knowledge is what I'm saying. You can't beat local knowledge, local insights. That podcast we were listening to last night when the ex-policeman was saying about how generally sort of smash, what they called it, the business that Samantha and her husband had, dealing with sort of he's a paneler and a beater. And in fact, I've got a video. We're going to look at his their website. I didn't know that that was generally accepted as a cover-up for organised crime in Australia, and I didn't know that. Maybe some of you knew that. But so you get all these, what I'm saying is you get all these insights from people who know things that you don't about these environments, about these societies, etc., and the motorbiking community, or, you know, different things that I don't know about, just as they wouldn't know about the culture that I live in. So it's always nice to sort of have some first-hand knowledge. Gosh, I've got so many things to tell you about on this video, really, about like possible fake news. Who do we believe? Who said this? Who said that? So many things. I just don't know where to start in a way. But I think what we will do is start with... let me just put that window down that I've just dealt with, because otherwise I get too many. Yeah. So first of all, I wanted to tell you about that other thing that had happened not far, just so that we remember that, yes, other things do happen. That's what the guy mentioned on the podcast last night. Unfortunately, these things don't happen in a vacuum, do they? You know, there's other things going on that the police have to give their attention to as well. So I want to start actually with the fake news sort of angle, if you like. There's a lot of controversy at the moment about the couple. There was a couple who said that they'd seen Samantha, not on the day she went missing, but the day before, on the Saturday. And they said they'd spoken to Samantha, and they also said they'd seen a strange man in the bush there where they were. So let's just have a look at that story first of all, before we have a look at what she's had to say since. So this is the woman, Rebecca Angeli. I hope I've pronounced that right. And she and her boyfriend saw a weird guy who was pestering them. This is her Facebook profile picture. So let's just see what she had to say. So, couple describes scary encounter with a man close to the time that the mum vanished. A couple who were camping near where Samantha Murphy went missing have said they saw a man who scared the hell out of us. So they said, come on, let's get down to where it actually says what happened. So a couple have now come forward who said they were camping between last Thursday and Saturday near Wuwukarung Regional Park, where police have also been searching for Miss Murphy, who disappeared on Sunday. So Rebecca and her boyfriend, Michael Churchill from Melbourne, were visiting the area in a motorhome to go gold prospecting when a man twice came out of nowhere, they said. So the couple initially pulled over near Ballarat gold mine, around 5 kilometres from Miss Murphy's home. They were preparing their metal detectors around the motorhome when Mr. Churchill told Miss Angeli that some weird guy had appeared in the bush. On social media, Miss Angeli said the man's pants were torn around the crotch, which had exposed his underwear, and he was muttering. So what day was that? Was that on the Thursday or was that on the Friday? Doesn't say which particular day it was. Anyway, rattled, the pair drove off and then parked in another spot to go prospecting. So yeah, these are all gold mines in this area. So people quite often go there just looking for gold. And then Miss Angley said, so they drove off. It doesn't say it here, but they drove off apparently for 7 minutes. A 7 minutes drive to another place to get away from this man. And they parked in another spot to go prospecting again. And then he appeared out of the bush again, according to them. So she said that she felt that he must have known a quicker way because it had taken them 7 minutes. It taken them 7 minutes to drive there, but he just appeared out of the bush and he wasn't driving. So she felt that he knew a quicker way to get to the place that they'd gone to. So he took out his hands from his pockets and put both his wrists behind his back and started walking towards me, she said. And then she shouted out something like, "Oh, do you know if there's any gold here?" to let her partner know, that there was somebody there. And then he came out, her partner then came up, and she says, as soon as he saw my partner, he quickly shifted his direction and started walking to the bush. The couple picked up their belongings and moved on once more. Now, I think it's important to say, though, they still camped there. They still camped there for the next couple of nights. Well, I don't know about you, but if I would have seen a creepy man twice, I think I would have just gone and checked into a hotel or something. Gone prospecting in the day, yes. But I certainly wouldn't have camped there overnight. But they did. They went and camped despite having seen this man. So Mr. Churchill said the man was really creepy looking and you could see through the tear in his trousers he was wearing white, dirty underwear. Thank God he had underwear on. I remember the whole weekend vividly. Whether it's anything at all, I'm not sure. Mr. Churchill said the man was in his late 40s or early 50s with mid-length hair. I'm a pretty decent-sized guy and I can more than handle myself. And it was enough for me to grab my partner. What is really alarming, said Miss Angeli, is that Michael was more worried than I am, and he never gets worried. The man came out of nowhere, which scared the hell out of us, but obviously not enough because despite the scare, the couple spent 2 nights at Wukarong Regional Park. So it all feels like strange, doesn't it? Because I'll tell you, I'm sure you're all there at home thinking exactly the same thing. You've gone somewhere, you've seen a strange man twice who's worried you, scared you. You're not going to camp overnight for 2 nights there. As I say, you go book into a hotel, come back in the daytime, do your gold prospecting or whatever. But yeah, why on earth would you actually camp there? How could you sleep? So on the Saturday, Miss Angeli said she saw a woman running through the park, which she said could well have been Miss Murphy going for a regular jog. And this was the day before she vanished. And she had said in another article that she said hello to her. Miss Angeli told the Australian she detailed what the couple saw on Facebook when they were concerned police hadn't investigated their experience fully. Maybe it's harmless. I don't want to point fingers. I'm just saying this is what I experienced and what I saw. Okay, let's see. So then going from that, if you have a look at Rebecca Angeli's Facebook, this is what she posted on her Facebook recently on the 10th of February. Criticising one of the Facebook groups. With all respect, I joined your group. With all respect, I joined your group thinking to share my experience while we were camping at the Wukarong Regional Park, which could have been vital information. My post was removed, which personally I couldn't care less. However, if you are truly trying to help, why would you remove a post about vital information which may have been nothing or maybe a vital clue. Now she's talking to the Facebook group that disbanded. That remember the initial Facebook group a few days ago? Just the administrator Sin Hobbs just came on and said, we've achieved our objective, which of course we haven't achieved our objective, or they haven't, because we haven't found Samantha Murphy as far as we know. It just makes you wonder, because you don't know what's going on. Did the police tell her to take it down? Another confusing thing. Anyway, so this post of Beck is aimed at that group. Instead of showing how many followers your page is getting around the world. So she got a lot of criticism for that. I do feel for Sin Hobbs, because, sometimes you set up these groups or you're trying to help, and then you get accused of all sorts of, you can't win, because if you don't, I found it especially with the Nicola Bulley case. If you stop doing videos, people are nasty that you've stopped doing videos because they're saying you're letting her down and, blah, 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 blah. And then if you keep doing videos, you get idiots on there saying, oh God, you're doing another video about Nicola Bulley. You can't win whatever you do. And then you do get some nice people saying, thank you for carrying on with this case. Not nice, normal people that understand why people are doing things. People like to come together about things. So, for example, if you're interested in true crime and, or mysteries, it's just some people are. There's no point in thinking about why they are. They are, and that's it. Just have to accept it. Now, it may be that you take a keen interest in this disappearance, but maybe your husband doesn't. Or the other way around, and maybe you do and your wife doesn't, or so you've got nobody to talk about it to. So people like to come together and discuss things. That is human nature, and this is what I'm saying. The police could control that instead of just leaving it to wild speculation. The police could sort of use that to their advantage if they controlled it. I've been saying it for ages. Use social media. Don't just some do. I think that's why I've got a lot of respect for Jeff Gayler over in the Rachel Marin case in Maryland in America, because he's very calm and he doesn't criticize social media. It doesn't, he just deals with it in a different way. There's no point in being sniffy about it all, because sometimes you need the social media, you need the exposure, you need the people to talk about it, and who knows what is going to come out of one little, just one little nugget of information. And it always reminds me of the Helen Bailey case, which, for those of you who don't know, what Helen Bailey was, an author, a famous author of teenage books for teenagers, the Electra series, and she was married to a guy whose name escapes me, thank goodness. But anyway, she disappeared. She disappeared one day, and her husband said she'd gone to their another house they had. It wasn't their house, it was her house. So he just fell on his feet, moved into her lovely house because she'd been successful. And Ian, I think his name was, or still is, because he's in prison now. But and she just disappeared without a trace. And not only her little dog as well. She'd never arrived at the place she'd supposed to have gone to which was a place she used to like to get away to do some writing, to be away from it all. But her phone did ping there, so that was another. The phone ping was interesting as well. Anyway, the police searched the house several times, I think, because obviously they start with the partner like they do, but nothing. And then it was just a neighbour. I mean, it wasn't social media. It was a neighbour just commented, oh, there's a cesspit in the garage. And this cesspit, the door to it, or the trap door down to it, was under his car. He parked his car over it. And they got him to move the car. they took up the hatch of the cesspit, and there was Helen and her little dog, Boris. And that's where he put them. So that's what I'm saying, you know, information comes, it can be just a throwaway comment, and it could be on Facebook, or it could be, you know, a neighbour. Nowadays, of course, there's more social media use, so it's a big part of it. So you just don't know when a comment, because the police, although, you know, I'm assuming they've got local officers, etc., but they won't necessarily know the family or know the friends or know the routine. So, you know, these are the things they've got to find out. So I'm waffling now, sorry about that. And I know it means they've got a lot of information to pick through. But I remember seeing a detective once talking about sifting information. You know, you get all this information, and you have to have a sifter. You know, so you've got somebody at the point of the information coming in, or a group of people, a team, and they sift through it to what they think is the most important thing and pass that on, you know, to the detectives. And then, of course, you know, eventually those leads will start to fade down, and then you can go through the ones that you've discounted, the ones that you discounted in the beginning. If you've still not got anywhere, you know, by the sifting, and then you've sifted what you think are the most important things, and then but still it's not been resolved, then you go back, won't you, to the things from the beginning when it quietens down, because it does quieten down in the end. Hopefully this won't get to that point where it goes on so long that it quietens down, but it's already been 2 weeks. So anyway, so what do we think of this woman? Do we believe her? So she says, instead of showing how many followers your page is getting around the world, why not start a search party? We went to the sites which we visited during our trip, and we were surprised to see a few people even looking for her. And so, say that again. We went to the sites which we visited during our trip, and surprised to see a few people even looking for her. Followers on your page do not make Sam proud. Starting a search party and continuing it is what would help her and make her proud. How does she know what would make Sam proud? How does she know that? Yeah, so I already don't like the way she's saying that, really. Yeah, somebody said that. What do you mean make her proud? And it would make her proud. Anyway, please share this post to extend the reach. So now, as you can imagine, that's got about 65 comments. But one of the comments that interested me, I mean, she did do the right thing to report what she saw. You know, it is a cause for concern, but it's, why have the police dispelled it? I don't know. Anyway. But when I looked down the comments, I found this from a David Stoner. I don't know who he is, but at the end of the day, he's made a public post. So, and he's posted this from Facebook that apparently is Beck's Facebook. Somebody saying to her, were you the one that saw Samantha Murphy when you were camping? She said, fake news. I have never said that. Daily Mail is writing fake news. So what's the truth? Did she see Samantha when she was camping, like the Daily Mail said, and other mainstream media have said? Did she or didn't she? This is what I mean about turning into the same bloody thing as that. Let's see, does she answer that? Somebody answers it, but she doesn't. Oh, okay, bot. Is it a bot? Maybe it is. Dear me. What's this that he's put? So Beck put here, we camped at the Wuwukarung Regional Park on Thursday and saw Samantha jogging on Saturday the 3rd. And she even said good morning to me. I thought I'd seen that. And then she talks about the suspicious male. Says, I've shared this information with Crime Stoppers and Ballarat Police Station, as well as ABC Ballarat radio station. So I don't know who David Stone is or why he's highlighting this, what she said. But at the end of the day, she did say it, according to this. So, this is what I hate. And this is what the police should address, these sort of things. I believe the police should address it and say, is it true or isn't it true? So, Beck, did you see Samantha or didn't you see Samantha? You know, I don't understand the controversy over it. So, it's going to be one of those again, isn't it? Pay your money, take your choice. It just drives me mad because you just want to know what actually happened. So, okay, so that's the bit of fake news, or is it fake news? Maybe it isn't fake news. You know, I'm not trying to cast aspersions on Rebecca. What I'm saying is, what is the truth? You know, how can we know? How can we know what's true? That's my problem. Anyway, so now I'm going to just show you another couple of things. We're going to have a look at the last night on the premiere that I did last night with the evening update, if you like. We were talking about their business, Samantha and Mick's business, which actually I haven't downloaded it. I've got to download it. Hang on. And the website is up there for their business. Now, after I came off that, I've just thought, I need to record this website because things disappear, you know, off the internet. That's the one thing about the internet. It can be manipulated so much. Videos disappear, as we know, community posts. YouTube channels disappear mysteriously. You know, there's no way of, you know, you can't control that because people control their own internet, their own social media. So what I did was, let me just download. I need to download it so we can look at it. I thought I'm going to make a video of the business just in case it does disappear. Now, I don't know how Mick's getting on. It must be awful because I presume he's got to work through all this. You know, all this of his wife being missing, but he's still got to work. They've still got to put food on the table, whatever, you know, especially when you've got your own business. I don't know how that's affecting, you know, if he is carrying on working or, you know, we don't know, do we? We don't know the circumstances, the current family circumstances. And, you know, neither should we. But, okay, so we're going to look at this website. Sorry. You know, it takes me a while to get things up. Present video file. Yeah, so it's called Inland Motor Body Works. And the other reason I wanted to say this was because, I'm sorry, let me pause it. Last night on the podcast we were listening to, the ex-detective said that these smash repairs shops could be, in his experience, in bigger cities, he said. Again, he was making it more sound like this was a smaller place. Could be like seats of organised crime, etc. No, he wasn't saying that Mick was involved in organised crime. He was just making the comment. So that's what made me want to look at it and just let's have a look. Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, and I've just decided, I've just finished a premiere that I was doing about Samantha Murphy, and we were talking about the business that her and her husband Mick run together, the Inland Motor Bodyworks, and I've just decided to make this quick video that I'm probably not going to release as a video on itself, but I wanted to kick out, you know, things disappear, don't they? If things happen, in this case, if something should happen, this website is going to disappear. So I thought I would capture it before it does. So that's what I'm going to do. This is the home page. So it's Inland Motor Bodyworks. Got all these nice cars pictured on the front. I'll just go through them. Yeah. And we're going to go through the whole website. I may not comment on it much at the moment. But yeah, Inland Motor Bodyworks as Ballarat's preferred choice for smash repairs. See, it was after the podcast I was listening to when the policeman there, the ex-policeman, was saying about smash repairs, body shops, in his experience, how they've been involved in organised crime. Anyway, we've developed a strong reputation over 60 years. 60 years. So was it Mick's father's before, or was it belonged to somebody else before? Because Mick is not that old enough to have had it for 60 years. For providing the Ballarat and district community with a high quality smash repair service. Right, I'm not going to read it out. What I'm going to do is just go through the whole thing. I'm not going to read it out for this video, because what I'll do is I'll play it on other videos. Just if anything particularly relevant, I will say. So there's the place. And this was, it's been updated on 2024. Okay. Site and design by Activate T. Okay, so that's the homepage. Let's look at the contact. Shed 1, Hines Road in Delicum, Ballarat. There's an email, the phone. Yeah, and I noticed this was strange. After hours, call Michael Murphy. Kiss, 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 kiss. You know, I mean, I quite often put kisses on my things, but I think that's unusual for a man to do that, isn't it? I don't know. For this sort of thing. After hours, call Michael Murphy. Kiss, 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 kiss. But there's no, like it says, after hours, call Michael Murphy. Kiss, 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 kiss. But there's no phone number for Michael Murphy. I think that's very odd on this website. Anyway, there you go. It's on the map. What's that? Oh, that's the street map. Okay. Yeah, do you see? That's quite strange, isn't it? So you've got your phone number, fax number. I didn't know anybody used a fax anymore. Maybe they do in Australia. Business hours 8 to 5, Monday to Friday, and after hours, call Michael Murphy. Kiss, 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 kiss. And no number anyway. Odd. Anyway, about us. So here we go. That's the description. So that's interesting. So I'm not going to read out all that. I'll read it if I'm doing an actual, when I come to do the actual video on it. But then it says Inland Motor Bodyworks has moved to a new state-of-the-art workshop featuring the latest technology of low bake ovens and fully fan extracted paint preparation bays. Okay. the highest quality finish. Now, I wonder if this is the mix number. That seems to be a different number from the others, but I presume that that's a mobile number. Okay. Well, it's a big place. Look at all the, you know, it's a lot of space. Modern equipment, latest technology. Okay. Insurance repairs. So these are the insurance groups that they work with, presume. Our team. Only professionals within the vehicle repair industry. Our highly skilled and trained tradespeople ensure quality workmanship throughout the entire repair process. So Kelly Murphy must be a relative, works on reception. Kelly is the first person you will see when entering the office area of Inland Motor Body Works. She runs the day-to-day duties of the office and works in partnership with Sam. And of course, Sam is Samantha, who is missing. Michael Murphy, proprietor, qualified estimator and panel beater with over 23 years of experience in the industry. Michael leads a dynamic team of qualified tradesmen committed to providing superior service and repair work. And there he is, Mick. Sam Murphy, administration. Sam is the head of administration and the backbone of the office. Her roles include bookkeeping, finance, keeping Mick in line as co-owner, plus many more. And then we have Stuart, Paul and Brett, who are qualified estimators. Okay, photo gallery. So see below some of the equipment we use and the types of jobs we can complete. It certainly looks pretty impressive, doesn't it? So Mick's the only person actually with a photo on there. So, you know, whether the receptionist is, you know, his daughter or just could be his sister, we don't know. Services we can offer. So here's the different services that they offer. Carolina, whatever that means. The most advanced, accurate and easy to use electronic measuring system. Okay. So that's it. That's the website. I'm recording this. I just wanted to record it because things do tend to disappear. And just in case, I just thought if I record it, so we've got this just in case for the future. See what happens in this. Hope Samantha, I just hope it's a good resolution. But so yeah, Kelly Murphy. I wonder who Kelly is. It's obviously a relative. Is it a sister? His sister? Is it one of the? I don't know how old he's the. Oh no, it can't be because the Jess. She was the oldest daughter, wasn't she? And she was only maybe 15, 16. So no. So it must be sister, I suppose. No photo of Sam or Kelly, just a photo of Michael on there.
If the chicken's ready, this is going to be one of his. He just knocked on my door. As if to remind me the chicken's ready.
Yeah. There she was. Okay, so that was the video of the website. So here we are. Basically, here we are. No more news from the police. We're still hoping, praying that there'll be good news for Samantha's family, but every day that passes, it does get so much more difficult, doesn't it? Now, what I just want to listen to now is, so I think what I'm going to do with this video, I've been trying to think about what to do with it, whether to just release it as a video, to release it as a premiere, but I think what I'm going to do is later on today, I'll probably do a live and I will play this video on the live, and then if there's been any other updates, we can talk about those as well. Now, so another thing that I recorded was part of a podcast that was took place. So I thought sort of end a little bit more positively, because this podcast is talking about how oh sorry, not that. I need to remove that completely because it's going to keep this podcast is talking about how the women in Ballarat are fighting back against, this climate of fear and suspicion that this has caused. So let's have a listen to this podcast, or part of this podcast.
And how the women of her community are now watching each other.
So this is the Quickie podcast, and they talk about a lot of different news, etc. But we're just going to listen to what they were saying about Samantha.
There's backs. On Sunday, February 4, Samantha Murphy left her home in Ballarat in Victoria's Central Highlands just after 7 a.m. for her usual run. She's been doing it for a while. The 51-year-old former aerobics instructor's physical strength, a testament to her commitment to exercise. The CCTV that covers the front of her home captures what will be the last image of her at this time, decked out in activewear and carrying a small plastic bag. Her hair is tied up in a ponytail in preparation for the sweat to come, her Apple Watch on her wrist, waiting to capture the steps she'll take and the distance she'll cover. The night before, during dinner with her husband Mick and a few friends, she'd reportedly talked about how she'd once been more of a bushwalker, but that now she was a more than capable runner, revealing her plan to run around 14 kilometres that very next day, starting out early enough to avoid the predicted 36-degree temperatures. Not long after being caught on the CCTV camera, Samantha set off towards Canadian Forest, the former pine plantation at the end of her street. The trails, paths and roads that run through it crisscross their way through the Wurrukurung National Park, an area Samantha knows well and has run in many times before. But while we know Samantha set off for that run, what we don't know is why she hasn't come back. Her family alerted police later that day after she didn't show up for a planned brunch. And now, more than 10 days later, her desperate family are still without any clearer understanding about where Samantha is or what may have happened to her.
Mum's a really strong woman and she's far too determined to give up this fight. I know she's out there somewhere.
People just don't vanish into thin air. Someone's got to know something, you know, whether it be any little thing that you might think's relevant, just call the police, let them know.
That's Samantha's daughter Jess and her husband Mick addressing the media, pleading for information. Samantha and her husband Mick run a panel beating business together and have only recently moved in closer to town from a rural property further outside Ballarat. While police will be investigating Mick due to the frequency of partners being involved in this type of situation, from all reports, they are a loving couple. Samantha is well connected to her community.
Yeah, so I think that was said on the other podcast we listened to. You know, it's important to remember that, yes, I think you can more or less put money on the fact that Mick will be being investigated. But until we have any evidence of any misdoing or whatever by Mick, you know, I think we have to be careful and respectful. So in the comments, I'd like you to not accuse him or, you know, because we don't know anything. You know, the partners always get accused. Of course they do. That's just, you know, because statistically it is quite often the partner that's involved in disappearances or MURDERs. But really, we cannot say that for certain, and we shouldn't really say it because it is distressing. Don't forget that there are children involved, and that is their father. And personally, just like with the Nicola Bulley case, I would like to believe that the partner is not involved, because that then means that children not only have lost their mother, but involved in whatever's happened, because we still don't know what's happened to Samantha. But that I would want to believe that the partners are not involved, because if they are, that means those children, that not only they've lost their mother, but they've lost their father too, and under those awful circumstances. So let's hope there isn't that. That be me. I'm praying there isn't that, because for their sake.
With 2 children in high school and a long history of being involved in school activities, the concept of her running away from her life and family seems far-fetched. The search teams would find items in the bush that they believed were connected to Samantha, but they later ruled them out. Another CCTV sighting on her street that same day turns out to be someone else. While we don't know what has happened in this instance, that leaves investigators, family, friends and the wider Ballarat community to consider whether Samantha has been injured and is somewhere still in the forest, maybe down one of the many disused mine shafts from the town's gold rush history. Or maybe, could Samantha have been taken by a stranger? That fear is not without merit. Local resident Sissy Austin has described being attacked by a shirtless man in an area not far from where Samantha was running that day. She says she was hit by something like a stick with a rock attached, which left her bloody and unconscious on the ground. The attack has left her with lasting injuries and an even greater impact on her mental health.
Yeah, my mind's been drifting in all different places. With the lead up to the anniversary of my attack, it's been quite jarring about what Sam could be going through or may have gone through.
That's it.
So that's the lady that was attacked a year ago. Again, that was mentioned in the podcast we listened to last night. That lady was hit in the face by a sort of makeshift weapon, a rock tied to a stick. Almost like what caveman would make, isn't it? And apparently he had no shoes on, no top on. Probably not that uncommon for him to have no top on, as it was probably hot. But no shoes on in the butt. That struck me, that, because could you imagine you could stand on a snake, a spider, some, a twig that would cut your foot, or so, yeah, no shoes. Gosh.
She's speaking to the ABC 7:30 report.
So there was a reason why shoes were invented, so you didn't hurt your feet.
The impact of Samantha's disappearance on her family is obviously devastating. But the sudden disappearance of a woman with no history of domestic violence, no history of drug or alcohol addiction, without any signs of relationship issues or infidelity, leaving nothing but a mystery in her wake.
Yeah, so this is where it divulges completely from the Nicola Bulley case, isn't it? because straight away, or not straight away, but within a couple of weeks, this information came out about Nicola Bulley, that she was had alcohol problems, menopause problems, mental health problems, you know. Then it all came out about the welfare check. Nothing like that so far has been mentioned about Samantha. She's that strong person, strong woman, physically and mentally. Seems like a loving family sort of dynamic, successful financially. So yeah, it makes it even more mysterious why she would just disappear.
Has shaken the whole community. Freelance journalist Shona Henley lives in the area. Shona, for those who've never been to your part of the world, what is this area of Ballarat like?
Yes, so it's a pretty big city. I think it's the second, third biggest city in Victoria. It's built on the sort of gold rush, and it's got a lot of mining areas to it, and it's still a home to a gold mine as well. My particular area is sort of on the outskirts, so there's a lot of, I guess, nature trails. It attracts quite a lot of like cyclists and BMX riders. It was home to the Road Nats, a cycling competition, for about 10 years. I think the last one was just held this January. So they sort of cycle through the area as well. But yeah, still quite a lot of wildlife around in there too, like, you know, kangaroos, koalas, that sort of thing. So although it's a big city, this sort of area, I guess it almost sort of seems separate.
Oh, kangaroos and koalas. Oh.
In a way, it's more of a small town sort of vibe over this side where I am.
Now, when we first read about...
So there, she's saying it's a small town vibe, but other people have come on my comments and said, oh, Ballarat is not a small town vibe. But it seems to, for the impression I'm getting, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, depends which part of Ballarat you live in, because even Manchester can feel like that, you know, which is a big city. If you live in the outskirts of Manchester, it can feel like a small town community vibe. But obviously, there's other areas of Manchester you can live in, and it's, you know, they're awful. You wouldn't want to live there at all. First of all, they're dangerous, but not all Manchester. You know, when you know Manchester, you know the difference between areas. So we can. This is how it's feeling to me now. It depends. It seems to depend which part of Ballarat you're in.
Samantha Murphy's disappearance, they talked about her running off into Canadian Forest, which is the name of the area where she was running. And I guess that conjures up visions of dense forest and not many people around. Can you give us an idea of how many people might use these trails on any given day to run or walk a dog or whatever they might do? Is it a relatively busy kind of area? Is it a place that you might find yourself alone in often?
Yeah, like I'm sort of on a different side to where she would have entered, I would assume, to where I would have entered the forest. But her actual home, from my understanding, is on quite a main road in Ballarat. So that part would have definitely had other traffic, you know, albeit walkers, runners, or, you know, just motorists, because she had to travel a bit to actually get into the forest section. The forest itself, I mean, bits of it are dense, but I think you'd have to get in quite a bit to get into the really dense bits, and they are very popular. I mean, most of the time when I'm out on a walk, I'll definitely pass other people on them as well. And I think, you know, a lot of things that have sort of been reported, I think there's been a lot about mine shafts and that sort of thing as well, but they're usually off the trail. Like, you would have to go off for that to be an issue, and I think someone that's familiar with the area wouldn't do that. And there's also not that many of them out there either. So I think that's sort of been a bit of a misconstrued thing going on. But it's, I wouldn't say it isolated. Like, I would dare say there would probably have been someone else around at some point on her travels, but I'm totally speculating.
Were you aware of random attacks on women in particular around this area? And I mean, Sissy Austin has come out and explained just how terrible a time she had when she was attacked when running on paths within the area as well by an attacker who's never been found. Were you aware that that was happening in and around that area over a period of time? Was it sort of well communicated to people in the community?
I think most of us heard about Sissy Osman's attack at the time, so last year. I've actually spoken to her myself for an article that I wrote, heard a bit more insight into that. But yeah, her attack has never been caught, which does sort of set off some alarm bells. But I mean, I've never been uncomfortable out walking or running in those areas. And other than what's sort of come out since Samantha's disappearance, I've not heard of anything outside of Sissy's attack, and that was in a separate forest as well, which is important to say. It is probably about 20 kilometres away, but they do sort of link up at some point.
Police have actually knocked on your door and asked whether you've seen Samantha. So this is really in your neighbourhood. What's the sense like around the community now? I imagine a lot of conversations are happening, you know, in supermarket aisles and street corners and whenever people are running into each other about this particular incident. But is there a sense of fear? Are people just getting on with things? Like, what's the community feel right now around this?
Yeah, I think the week following her disappearance was quite stressful. And obviously, you know, I sort of want to mention that how we're feeling is quite different to how her family is feeling. But in saying that, you know, we do also have legitimate reaction to her disappearance as well, because it is sort of a small town feel over this side. So it does sort of feel like you do know everybody, I think. And the fact that something like that could happen in that area, it makes you a bit concerned. And I think the not knowing is the biggest issue, the idea that you could potentially go out on a run or a walk and then disappear without much information coming forward. I walk or run most days. That personally, since her disappearance, I just stuck to like the main path and followed that around, and that sort of runs parallel to the main road. And I know that a lot of...
So she's not letting it stop her go out running, walking, and I do think that's important. You shouldn't let it stop you, even though it is scary and it does make you think twice. You just have to make sure you're alert and make sure you protect yourself as best you can, because why should you stop doing something that you enjoy doing? It makes me angry to think that you have to feel that, you know, you can't. It's like you're in a prison. Well, because other people who just can't be trusted, they're just free to do whatever the hell they want, and then, you know, you're feeling like you're locked up.
Other women that I've spoken to are walking with someone else where they might not have done that before, walking with their partner, as in like male, and also changing their time of day where they would go for a walk. And some haven't gone out at all. So I think it's definitely made women more vigilant around their safety. And it's a shame because prior to this, you know, I didn't have a concern at all. Like, I'd pop my headphones on and go and walk and run any time of the day that I wanted to go. And I think the other thing that sort of hasn't been spoken about a lot either is just the way it's affecting a lot of the kids as well in the area. So the base of where her search was first centred from, there's a primary school, which is the one my kids were at, which is literally a street over. And so this street where the police station is went from, you know, there'd be like no one in it to being filled with emergency vehicles, SES, media, cars of people.
Yeah, I mean, that must be pretty scary, mustn't it, for children to see all that, all the media, the police, etc., and knowing that woman's gone missing, you know, because even little kids are not that, you know, sort of oblivious to what's going on. So just that whole climate atmosphere feel must be quite upsetting for children too.
That were going out to get information before they headed out on their searches. So it was really quite hard to ignore. And, you know, there was a message sent out on our app. It had been an issue at school because some kids were finding it quite hard to deal with. So I think it's affecting like a wide range of people throughout Ballarat for different reasons.
You know, something that you wrote in your article for Mamma Mia, and something you didn't think would come out of this, is this real kind of allyship between women who do go out and walk and run in those areas you were talking about, in that there's a feeling now that we do need to look out for each other a little bit more, even though that shouldn't have to be the case. There's a sense that women are kind of banding together and allies of women are banding together to keep each other safe. Is that right?
Yeah, so I think, when any sort of tragedy happens, especially like a smaller area, I think often the first reaction is actually really positive, and, community is often brought together by these things because for the most part, the majority of people in it are like good people, and, they don't want these sorts of things to happen. So the sentiment has definitely been like women should feel safe and be able to go for a walk and go for a run and go about their daily activities without having to be concerned. And I think a way that's sort of been expressed is by that sort of camaraderie between women who had posted on various local social media groups about going for walks, and if people were feeling uncomfortable that they were going for one, if they wanted to join them. I've even noticed when I've gone out, it'll just be like a smile, or some people even stop for a bit of a chat, and that's men and women as well. People are going out of their way to reassure one another that you don't have to have a huge sense of fear, still go and do those things, but obviously be vigilant.
The investigation into Samantha's disappearance is continuing, but police have already scaled back the formal search. They know that her mobile phone pinged a tower in the nearby suburb of Buninyong before it went dark. But being regional and without a stack of other towers to track after that, it doesn't give them much to narrow down. They then trawled through Samantha's devices and tracked her movements in the lead up to the day she went missing to see if there are any clues as to what might have happened.
Now, we haven't heard that before. She's saying this. Do we know that for sure from the police?
To her. It made a surprise announcement yesterday that they now believe there are suspicious circumstances surrounding her disappearance. Police say the lack of evidence has led to that call. Chief Commissioner Shane Patton saying there was no new information from the missing persons squad, and that it's certainly unusual when they haven't been able to locate any trace of her or any other evidence within that period of time. He went on to say it's suspicious, but whether that means there's foul play involved or not, he doesn't know.
Yeah. No, I think that's about
Thanks for
it.
tuning in again. We appreciate you giving us your time to feed your...
I do want to just go back a little bit. What did she say? Because when she first started talking about it,
That's a cycling competition.
What did she say was
President
about
Sissy Austin has described being attacked by a shirtless man.
Yeah, this is bugging me now about what was she planning to do that morning, because we've got the reports that she was planning on this family brunch at 11. Now somebody's saying that she was planning to meet, some people saying she was planning to meet some guy in Ballarat at 10. So what did this woman say? Let me just, what was her, be right, beginning with it.
Image of her at this time, decked out in activewear and carrying a...
Right, let's just go back to the beginning.
Ballarat in Victoria's Central Highlands just after 7 a.m. for her usual run. She's been doing it for a while. The 51-year-old former aerobics instructor's physical strength, a testament to her commitment to exercise. The CCTV that covers the front of her home captures what will be the last image of her at this time, decked out in activewear and carrying a small plastic bag. Her hair is tied up in a ponytail in preparation for the sweat to come, her Apple Watch on her wrist, waiting to capture the steps she'll take and the distance she'll cover. The night before, during dinner with her husband Mick and a few friends, she'd reportedly talked about how she'd once been more of a bushwalker, but that now she was a more than capable runner.
Yeah, now this is something that's been mentioned as well, the dinner the night before with Mick and some of her friends. So she does talk about this. Yeah, so she said she was now more of a runner than a walker. Yeah, because we don't know the full details of that dinner the night before either.
Revealing her plan to run around 14 kilometres that very next day, starting out early enough to avoid the predicted 36-degree temperatures.
So, yeah, she was going out early. She was only supposed to be doing, because originally they said she was doing 20 kilometre run. Now they're saying that she said she was only going to do 14 kilometres because she wanted to be back in time for whatever arrangement she had.
Not long after being caught on the CCTV camera, Samantha set off towards Canadian Forest, the former pine plantation at the end of her street. The trails, paths and roads that run through it crisscross their way through the Wurrukurong National Park, an area Samantha knows well and has run in many times before. But while we know Samantha set off for that run, what we don't know is why she hasn't come back. Her family alerted police later that day after she didn't show up for a planned brunch. And now, more than 10 days later, her desperate family...
Yeah, so she's saying on here they didn't show up for a planned brunch. So it's the brunch. So where's the truth? Come on, police, you have to come out and say what's really going on here. But anyway. Okay, so I'm going to finish that here, there. I still haven't decided whether I'm going to do this as a normal video, a premiere, or a live. But thanks for listening, whatever I decide to do and however I'm finishing off this video. Remember to live and love wisely, carefully. Please subscribe if you found the video interesting, informative, and want to see other videos. Please subscribe. It's completely free. And I'll see you, as always, really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God always go with you. Bye.